They just have to pick, and if they pick West Adams.
Okay, this is the architect.
Okay.
Well, that's okay if they pick, I mean, I don't care.
Yeah, I know you don't. I do, but they don't pick me, so
Right.
that's good to know.
Uh-oh.
And it does, I got it.
Okay.
So, and it does, I went back to check that. I don't know why it says it, but it does. The video does.
Okay. Hi, David. Oh, see, I have to remember.
Hi, hello.
Hi, this is Laura speaking.
Oh, hi.
Hi there. But again, remember I told you I don't always remember not to look at the computer.
Yeah,
So I'm going to try to remember to look that way.
appreciate it.
Did somebody knock at the door?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
So we'll start in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, take your time.
Why do we have this?
Oh, it's the TV. I just.
So I don't accidentally. It would be useful if I put the.
I'm gonna grab my notepad. So,
It's okay. It's not a problem. I'm also remembering what I'm supposed to do.
okay, hold on.
I said file for you.
Oh, but not with the stuff in it, right?
No, I can do that. I'm just going to minimize this too.
Okay, yeah, we can click, just X that out. Okay. Oh, you have it. Yeah, no, you had my thing was right.
Oh, I just.
Planning zone, so you have to copy everything out of there.
So can we just right click this or do we have to go into the, like, can I just copy it now?
Yeah, and put it,
Okay.
I mean,
No, copy as a path, so no, we should.
no, we go in, you click the little box, select, which selects all, then
You got it.
copy, right?
Mhm.
And we go to where documents. Planning and zoning. And paste. Here's everything, yay. Okay,
Then you want to start opening.
opening the, well, I'll start with this. Not. So, David, are you able to see all the things I'm doing here?
You didn't share, Laura.
I know I'm not sharing.
Then how would you see it?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking. So you're not, because it's in here, it's very like kind of overwhelming the Zoom, but you can't see it. So that was my question. Okay.
Yeah, I only see you and
Teresa.
Hey there.
hi, and Donna Jones, I guess.
We can only see you when you guys talk, Teresa, you know.
Yeah, Laura's going to start sharing in a second.
Yeah, but I'm,
Just click it.
there we
And
go.
one more time, Laura,
What am I, one more time,
to
what?
make it larger, just one more.
Ah,
There we are.
okay, look at that. And so probably gonna start the meeting more like 7:05, 7:04,
Yeah.
it's 7:01 now.
No problem.
It just feels more frazzled doing Zoom this way than it did when we were 100% Zoom. I don't know. So apologies.
Yeah. Are you guys in an office or somebody's house? Or?
We are at a recreation and parks facility called the South Seas House. It is a 1902 historical house, a city landmark, adjacent to the Benny H. Potter West Adams Avenues Park, which looks like a park. It has trees and grass and basketball court. And this is the community room and the offices. They have classes here.
Oh, nice.
Kids.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
but it does look like a house because it actually kind of is.
Yeah. Looks like it.
So, Teresa, did you know that there was no hot water here? I didn't either.
So because they don't have a
hot water heater.
Oh, did you guys, when you did the renovation?
Apparently, no, if you look around, there's no hot water heater. So Astrid was saying she was asking her bosses how to get it. And it's like, that's not, I mean, I don't see how it's feasible to do piped in hot water, but there is instant hot water. There's
Yeah,
a different kind of thing under the sink.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
there's a way to, it's a device that, it's kind of like a tankless water heater, only specific to a fixture.
So that might work.
Otherwise, I don't see how they could do it. Okay, 7:03, counting down. So I talked to John earlier today, but he had to send a link because he was getting a call.
So is he zooming in?
I don't know. Oh, yeah, I mean, I know he's not coming here, but he just got back from New Hampshire. So I don't know. I'm not waiting for him, I'm just waiting. I know Steve Wallace is supposedly. Okay. So I guess I should just start the meeting.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna start. So anyway, officially calling this meeting to order at 7:04. This is a meeting of the UNNC Planning and Zoning Committee. My name is Laura Myers. I am the co-chair of this committee. And I am going to, first point out that we are being recorded on Zoom and we're streaming to YouTube, which is recording as well. And I'm going to share the screen with the agenda. See, now where is it? Deep sigh, because I did open it.
Okay, just go down to the, we're done, yeah. But it's not being shared yet.
No, I know that.
Okay, so maybe just not trying.
Oh,
Here it is right there.
okay. So okay, so welcome again and call to order review of UNNC's standing rules for committee stakeholder voting participation. So for David's information, what that means is the way UNNC does its standing committees, we appoint our chairs, but for committee membership, essentially any stakeholder may participate in any given meeting. And as long as they are, as the city council has defined what a stakeholder is, people who live, work, own property, attend school, worship at a church within the boundaries, and or essentially are a community interest stakeholder, which means they participate with a nonprofit organization which has its brick and mortar address within our boundaries. As long as they're one of those definitions of stakeholder, they may make a motion that can vote. But so that's that. And our introduction. So again, I'm Laura Myers. I live in Angeles Vista. I am longtime co-chair of this committee. I am on the board of UNNC.
Represent the West Adams Avenues on the board of the UNNC. And if we vote, I will be voting.
Oh, yes. If we vote, I will be voting. David, introduce yourself.
Yes, my name is David Chun. I'm an architect and the architect for this project at 1422 St. Andrew's Place. Yeah, we are proposing a lot subdivision of the existing lot, which is about a little over 13,000 square feet.
And we'll get, just introduce yourself.
Okay.
Thank you.
And Donna Jones?
Hi, everybody. My name is Donna Jones from West Adams Avenues. If we vote, I will be voting.
Okay, so, and again, we're going to review this agenda. The next item after what we just are doing is general public comments, and that's comments on items which are not on this agenda. And then item 3 is what you were talking about, David, 1422 South St. Andrew's Place. Item 4 is if any, follow up to previous cases, old business. ENS is the service that the city planning department does every 2 weeks. They send out all the cases that have been filed. So if there's anything to discuss on that kind of stuff, that comes up on item 4, and then we adjourn. Okay, so general public comments. Donna, your hand is raised.
Yes, just want to make sure that we do discuss the house in which you sit regarding the doors and what we are going to hold the feet to the fire of RAP regarding that. Wanting to make sure it is agendized at some point. Thank you.
So were you thinking it should be agendized to this committee or to the governing board or what?
Not even sure. I think it should be discussed. The house, where does it fit? What should we talk about? The concerns of the house, the maintenance of it, and how RAP is taking care of it. So a letter I want to see going from neighborhood council to RAP to make some suggestions or show some concern. As long as we don't, they think things are fine.
I don't know, report tomorrow night?
We can, but it's not on the agenda. I mean,
No, the
Sorry.
committee report
Yeah.
tomorrow night.
Thank
Hi,
you,
David.
Yeah.
Hi, sorry,
Discuss it,
my
but-
computer
but
is
it won't come.
on haywire, so I'm using my phone.
Okay,
Okay. What would we do with that? Donna, are we getting the doors back? Has Kimani confirmed that he has
Yes,
the
he
door?
did. He did confirm they will be returned. I'm going to speak again about it. But yes, they've been found and they're going to be returned to the house with some other crap that came with it. Not satisfied. I think I told both you and Laura, they need to be watched. And I don't think we're watching. So I'm going to keep bringing it up till we, as a community group, do something about making sure someone's watching. And I don't know if it's Bernstein or his friend, but somebody needs to have their feet.
okay, so Donna,
We're going to agendize it for next meeting.
for this committee and then to governing board in November. And we'll just put it under, in effect, the category of maintenance of city-owned historical property. You know, because historic preservation theoretically
It's under our planning.
is under
zone.
planning and zoning. So we'll do that, but the way my brain is, somebody will have to remind me to make sure it gets on that
I
agenda.
will, I will remind you.
Okay. And a draft letter would be useful rather than sitting in the meeting, I mean, or at least bullet points, so that rather than sitting in the meeting and trying to write a letter. Okay, any other general public comments, Teresa?
No, I don't have it.
Okay. My general public comment is only that, FYI, the South Los Angeles Area Planning Commission hearing that was scheduled for yesterday on the oil drilling Murphy site, was postponed for 2 weeks, even though, I mean, it was continued because the APC Area Planning Commission could not achieve proper quorum because they only had 3 commissioners and 1 was recused. So they have to have 3 people who are not recused in order to conduct the meeting. So like 50 people were there, and I don't know how many people were present on Zoom. And city officials were there, but they did not conduct the meeting. It's scheduled for 2 weeks from yesterday, whatever that date is, the 3rd Tuesday of the month. And I guess that also means,
You'll be back down there.
except we have executive.
Oh,
So I don't know what it means. It means I'll be back down there, but having to race here, so I don't know if I'll be effectively down there. Okay.
My
and-
question is, do you guys put out an announcement from UNNC or from some committee? Because Tanisha Thomas, which I
Right.
forwarded to all of you. They put out
Correct.
something, and
Yeah, I had put it in some e-blast a bit ago. Probably, I mean, I put it in, actually not standalone. It was in an e-blast related to our meeting here 2 weeks ago. But it was a review of the case and all of the information about how to attend and how it was on that agenda. So it's not exactly a standalone, but now I will do a standalone.
because Juana does, and that's why I shared it,
Sure.
since I do technically belong to them because they've adopted me. Because I attend.
Well, technically it's not in their neighborhood, but yeah, understood.
Well, they're very involved, you know, I
Yes.
guess.
Yeah. Well,
So I
exactly.
just wondered whether Jefferson Park or somebody does something, but if not, I will continue to share it.
Well, I don't think it's appropriate for UNNC to be posting it over and over again to say Facebook. It's not our project. We don't have an official change in position. So we could keep posting our position, but this is an appeal. So I don't know. Anyway, let us move on to the case that we actually have, 1422 South St. Andrews Place. And you can see from the case number AA-2023-374 PMLA-HCA. So that AA, well, actually, David, make sure I've got this right. Is it the AA or the PMLA that says it's a subdivision case? I think it's the AA, right? On that.
I'm
String of
not
numbers and
certain.
letters. Okay, well, in any case, the last three letters, HCA, means it is a Housing Crisis Act project. I'm not sure how an AA is a Housing Crisis Act project, but in any case, somebody at the City Planning Department has said that. And essentially what this is a proposed to take a larger lot and divide it into two lots that are not small, and then build on each of the two lots a duplex, so 4 units total, in the R2, which is zone, which normally allows only 2 units. And although the original application did not mention a demolition of the current structure, it was very clear that it would have to be demolished. So we've always put on our notice that it is a demolition, and now officially a demolition permit has been applied for. And beyond that, David, if you are on your phone, are you able to share, or do I need to share? What I have in our agenda packet, and I have here, is the application and as we discussed, the first couple of pages of the plan, the original plans. But did you want to talk first and say how, you're updating, the stuff we conversed about, or what? And I just don't know if you can share. If you can physically share, I can make you a co-host. Otherwise,
I'm unfortunately, I'm on my phone and I don't have access to that on my phone.
So I should share.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't mind. But I don't mind at all, except for like we are again.
Stop the share.
Yeah. Oh, X. Yeah. Go back to this.
Yeah,
And then
I didn't mean.
I can only do one of the
Oh,
other.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Zoom. And I will share this. Let's scroll down to page 2.
And if I could just for 1 second, let me just do something here.
Right, but I need to get to the next page. This is irrelevant. There we go. Okay, is that page 2? There's page 2.
And I'm gonna make it just a little bit bigger, so maybe. How's that?
It's fine. I don't know that this is page 2. David, do
It
you
says 2 at the top.
Oh, okay, well then it must be page 2. I think we want to start with page 3.
There are 4.
Yes.
Okay.
So let's start with page 3. So David, what I'm sharing on the screen, assuming everyone can see it, is the footprint on the parcel of the existing house.
Correct.
And again, if you want to talk a little bit and tell, I mean, I can say what we're looking at, but here you are. I mean, so it's up to you. If you do want to talk, or should I just continue to say what we're looking at?
I'd like to hear you talk about it, David, if you don't mind.
Sure. Yeah, it's a corner lot. There's an existing single family with a detached garage in the back of the lot. Yeah, I think it's it's a corner lot and sort of a good sort of way a good parcel to be able to subdivide.
And if you go to, well, should I, page 4? See, how are you? There you go. I'm looking for the navigation. So on this is the parcel map. And what you can sort of see, and maybe you can see the arrow that I'm doing. So the parcel will be divided here. And what's the issue is that the house goes beyond the parcel division.
Right.
But my question is, would it make a difference if it didn't, David? I mean, aren't you requesting to demolish the house? So it doesn't
Yes.
make a difference if it's fully off, or even if it cuts through, correct?
Well, if you're going to demolish, but in order to do the parcel subdivision, that's what triggers the demolition.
But
Right.
I'm sorry, I thought we were gonna talk about the actual demolition and what we're gonna, is that part
Well,
of this?
yeah, so what the planning and zoning kind of picture is that a parcel, a subdivision into 2 parcels is an entitlement process, right? It's called a subdivision, and there will have to be a public hearing, and there's findings that have to be made. And the core reason they're doing this, the purpose wasn't to demolish a house. The purpose was to be able to build more housing. Because of the zoning, R2 limits it to 2 units
I understand.
without doing ADUs.
I
so-
understand that.
Right. So, but the subdivision requirements have a minimum lot size, is that correct,
Right.
David?
That's right.
Because
That's right.
one of the questions that people had asked me, we had talked about, we as a committee had talked about this back in February, was how come they can't just build units in the rear of the parcel, so, facing 15th Street, but keep the house, since it's so large, it has so many rental bedrooms and bathrooms already anyway. And I think the nuance is that the minimum lot size, I mean, there's a lot of reasons why it doesn't work in their plans, because they can't divide the parcel properly and still get the number of building units, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, because the existing main house is kind of straddling the lot line, and if we were to try to save the house, let's say, so to kind of follow that logic, you would need to provide a certain setback at the back of the house to so it wouldn't allow you to divide the lot right at the edge of the house. You would need a setback, and then once you go past the house and provide the required setback, the lot remaining would not be big enough to be allowable as a separate lot, because there's a minimum of 5,000 square foot minimum per lot.
Right. So David, I guess a question would be, I understand that the vision of the owner is brand new construction. I mean, there's other things, and not just the difference between the size of the lot, it's the difference between new construction and old, 110 or more years old. But if this was not subdivided, what would you be allowed to build a new unit plus 1 or 2 ADUs? I mean, would it, I mean, in other words, what's the math these days? It keeps changing. Because I've now seen applications where developers are proposing 2 ADUs. So whatever else they're doing is like plus 2 ADUs. And it's like, is that something new?
My understanding is that in an R2 zone, you can legally add a second or build a new second unit. Whether it's
Plus
detached
at least
or-
one ADU. Yeah.
Yeah, plus an ADU. It was my understanding in a duplex you can only add one ADU, but I'm not entirely certain.
Okay, so why don't you just tell us what the owner's total vision is for this? It's not just building, but what's his plans for, aside from he wants to have two unit parcels, what else is he hoping to do?
I think the intent is to create more housing. It is a proposal that proposes greater density. I mean, it as a single lot you can only produce two units, and it's a very large lot, and it's large enough to handle two separate buildings. And I think that just given the context of the neighborhood, I think it seems appropriate to have to be able to build four units on this very large corner lot.
So have there been actual conversations with the planners about this idea of getting around the zoning? Because that's essentially, they just changed the zoning to R2 back in 2018. It was purposeful, not accidental. So
I didn't know that.
Have the planners had a discussion with you about that, or?
Not really. No, basically we're just following the code that allows that there's a minimum lot size that's allowable, and this is large enough to be able to subdivide into two, and the R2 zone allows us to dwelling units, and really it's just sort of following the zoning code and what is by right. And obviously the subdivision is much more complex because we do have to go through public hearing, and the neighborhood has to be heard, and we have to go through that process, obviously. But they didn't really sort of question anything, because we're just sort of, like I said, just following the code, and it was just we're just kind of going through the steps.
Teresa?
Hey, David. So I have some questions, and just bear with me. So
I'm sorry, can I just explain, David had explained something to me. They're working on new plans. So this is sort of a preview,
okay,
but not a final.
Okay, that's fine. So there's a large lot, you want to subdivide it, and you want to put duplexes in on each lot, correct?
Correct.
So that's 2 units over here, 2 units over here.
Correct.
More or less, right?
Yeah.
Not a duplex plus an ADU, just an actual duplex and a duplex.
That's correct.
Okay. Is this for you guys to sell, or will they be rented? And if they're going to be rented, will they be market rate, or what? Have you guys thought about that?
I'm not privy to all of that information, but from my understanding, it is a rental. I don't think it's. I think it is. As far as I know, it's not like a low income housing unit. Is my understanding that it's market rate.
Well, there's several different levels. So there's low income, then there's affordable, there's market rate, there's luxury. So I know you guys might not be there, but that will probably be a question that will come up for you in this process.
Yeah.
And my other question is, have you discussed what you're going to do with the tenants that are in the building now, in the house?
Yeah, that's been brought up by Laura as well. I mean, it's my understanding that when the sale occurred, that that the property was delivered vacant.
So, but I think there are people in it now. Aren't there people in
I
it?
think so, but I don't know.
Okay.
That's not my understanding.
Oh.
I know that there were some arrangements from the seller to have there were some people that were staying there to kind of, you know, safeguard the house because there were some break-ins or something. Yeah, that was some arrangement that occurred with the seller, but that's my understanding, is that it was delivered vacant.
Okay, and then this is just a random question. The house is, you're requesting to have it demolished. Are you going to have like an architectural salvage company come in and take the doors or the hardware or the fireplace mantle? Will you contract with someone to do that or make it available for, because as a historic neighborhood, there are a lot of historians who would love to have that opportunity. So if you, instead of just demolishing it, maybe you can do a salvage, an architectural salvage, or at least open it up to the.
Yeah, we would be. I mean, I would totally support that, and I would, you know, really sort of talk to everybody involved to encourage that. I know that the city nowadays require they require sort of like a waste company that does like are able to portion out certain things to recycle what's recyclable. But I guess that's sort of a different kind of arena. But
yeah, I was just thinking about the historic nature, and there's so many, not just preservationists, but people who are trying to update their own historic homes, who may appreciate the hardware, or who are trying to get a new door. There might be doors there. I mean, I don't know what the interior condition is, but, or even the windows, there are, you know.
Well, the windows have been changed.
They've been changed.
Yeah, I can see from the photos
That
they were changed, but
because
I see no
adjacent-
photos of the interior.
And the adjacent neighborhoods are HPOZs, which are historic preservation overlay zones. So many times people want to update their windows, but it's difficult to find. But as Laura mentioned, the windows have already been changed. So that's something to keep in mind. And certainly Laura can advise you on that. The historic.
Yeah, we would totally be open to that. I mean, I think that only makes sense if there's some, you know, people that are interested in what's there. I mean, it would be all for preserving, you know, some of those things if they could be reusable and is of value to the neighborhood or whomever it is. So, yeah, we'd be totally on board.
Great. I think those are my questions. Thank you.
Okay, Donna, did you have questions at this time? I may have a few more, but Donna, it's your turn if you have any.
Not really. I do think it's great to have the opportunity to give the community at large a chance to salvage what they can from this property.
So David, another thing you and I had briefly touched on, I'm going back to the question about the prior tenants. Because this is a subdivision case, I think the owner will need to provide the tracing of the prior tenants. So that, in other words, if they were not relocated properly, they will assign. I mean, it's just one of the requirements for subdivisions and condos, new tract maps, is that the city will require the hiring of one of those companies that then verifies the relocation of the tenants. And
I see.
So, I mean, you should just share that information because you don't want that shouldn't be a surprise at the back end. And again, I think people in this community are very concerned about, well, basically displacement. That, you know, were these people who live there displaced? And I know you just said that there were just some people sort of caretaking, but the person who sold the property had purchased it in the year 2005. and
Yeah.
owned it until it was sold, and was also the real estate agent on the sale. So he's not naive, shall we say. And so he should have those records, and was pitching this for this kind of outcome, in the MLS. So he he's not,
So David, just,
Yeah.
people are gonna ask, what happened to those people that were in that building? And you guys, when you come to us, you're gonna have to have an explanation or show some documentation that they were placed properly, that they were given, what, a substantial amount to move, or whatever the qualifications. You just can't kick people out. And people are very concerned about that in the community,
Right.
about displacement.
well, as is the council office.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Right, but again, because this is a subdivision case, so will be the, I keep forgetting the name, but the hearing is before a group of, the zoning administrator will lead the hearing, but there'll be someone from Bureau of Engineering, there'll be somebody from the housing department. I mean, this is a multiple agency and entity that will hear the case. And so, this is not your, if you were just asking for a variance from the zone, you want to build 2 units on this, east side of the parcel, and that's too many units for the zoning, you would, that's a different kind of entitlement case that wouldn't require what we're at, what we're telling you now that will be asked for. But since you're doing the subdivision, there's other rules in play. And
Yeah, I understand. I'll relay that message.
you're
I
the
don't know.
architect, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure what kind of documentation is available in regards to how the sellers delivered it vacant. But I'll certainly relay the message.
Right. I mean, it might be a big challenge. Again, as we had discussed on the phone. Teresa, you have another question?
Yes, I do, David. If you can see, this is the current layout. And
Yeah.
I apologize because I have not been to the site, so.
I have photos.
In the thing? Oh, okay. Can you give me some information about the trees on the lot?
Yeah, we did do a tree report. There weren't any we went through that was part of the discussion with the planning department to identify, to make sure if there were any
Protected species.
Protected trees.
But are there any significant, any large trees on the site?
We haven't. I guess what do you consider large?
Well, how about this? How about I just take a look at the tree report, because that's my fault for not looking at that.
Of course.
Okay. I think Laura's sharing some photos.
I will in a second.
Okay.
Okay. Are we sharing?
Yes, we're sharing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can see.
So these are just photos from the MLS. I'm not necessarily seeing a lot of trees.
Oh, okay, because I don't see the backyard yet.
Here we go. There's the backyard.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Yeah. So,
But
sorry, that was me.
okay, go ahead. We have 2 people who can control this screen.
So I'm just looking. Do you know what tree this is, David?
That looks like the one right at the corner. I don't know offhand. Sorry, but
That's okay.
What I do know is I can share that tree report to you. It basically was done by an arborist to basically identify if there are any protected trees, and he reported that there were none. But landscape is a big priority for us in this project. So we are working on a landscape design plan that also includes the parkway. And for our meeting, for our next meeting, we'll have that ready. You'll be able to see the kind of what the landscape would be like, and the experience of a pedestrian would be like, or somebody in a car, because we will sort of I think you really, be able to beautify that corner, because it's really messy right now. And, we talked to, we've been working with trying to create, some shade, where we can have some canopied trees, like Laura had mentioned as well. That's something that we are, that's important to us, and that's what we're going to present in our next meeting.
Okay, that's great. And the tree report has, you presented that to planning, so I
Yes.
assume uploaded into the, or it hasn't been uploaded yet.
Yeah,
Maybe you mentioned to them to please upload it.
Okay.
That is, they're getting there, but they have so many documents that the tree report and it's because many people don't look for it, but they understand now the importance in many communities that they are asking to see that tree report, even though it's required, that sometimes they don't upload it. So, and I'm sure Laura mentioned to you, we're really concerned about shade equity in our area and building our tree canopy. So our shade canopy is very important.
I actually didn't mention it, but our neighborhood council, so the city has done a survey by neighborhood council of the tree canopy on the public right-of-way trees. So that's not including a backyard tree, but it's miserable enough. Let me just say that. Our neighborhood council does not rise to the top of neighborhood councils with great tree coverage. That's a double negative. That's an understatement. We're in the lowest 25%.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're actively trying to preserve the trees that we have and to grow our canopy. Off the top of your head, do you know the parkway, the width of the parkway?
I think it's about 5
feet. Okay.
feet.
So you might be able to get a large canopy tree. One of the other things that we're working on are trying to grow native trees to increase our biodiversity for insects and birds and the whole life cycle of nature. So that if you could keep that in mind when with your plant selection. I know that there are some limitations that you may get from UFD on the size and these different things, but it's okay to push them to say you really want to move in a different direction. Let them tell you no, but you can push them a little bit. It's not official yet, but the city has like a tree list of over 100 species of trees. So if you have some ideas, we love oaks, the coast live oak, the Engelmann oak, they provide a lot of shade, and they're also great for biodiversity. So if you can keep that in mind, that would be great.
Okay.
And you might be able to get that in a 5-foot parkway. I mean, UFD might say no, but if not, maybe you can actually get it on and somewhere in your design you can incorporate a large species tree. That would be great.
Yeah. I mean, we've engaged a really, really good landscape designer, architect. So I think you'll be impressed with some of his ideas. So so you'll see.
Okay. Thank you.
And then David, the other thing that you and I had spoken about, so again, we're going to have another meeting, hopefully with more participation as well. But we do have the Angeles Vista Character Residential CPIO overlay district, and its purpose was to a couple of things: preserve the historical structures and to maintain the kind of the physical character of the neighborhood. So with the setbacks, for example, on Gramercy Place, this is St. Andrews, it's a 40-foot building line setback. I'm not sure what the building line setback is on St. Andrews. It feels like the building right next door to this site projects into that standard setback. So I'm not quite sure why that ever happened. Well, I do know quite why it happened, because the 1970s were a racist period of time in our community. Stuff happened. I don't want to say much more than that. But I would like, when we come with a more full, more robust presentation, an explanation about how the new design, which I haven't seen, fits into the character of our community, because this was something the community worked for. Having this overlay took 10 years to achieve. And that right away, there was a year between the council voting it in place, and it took them that long to write the actual ordinance. And we experienced 10 demolitions in that period of time. It was bad. And 3 were on St. Andrews, the next block. So, or two were on St. Andrews. One was directly behind I mean, there's just too many demolitions, but there was this time when the overlay wasn't really in existence, even though it had been adopted by the city council, that the law wasn't, the ordinance wasn't written. And then COVID hit, and just stuff happened, including another grand old house was burned down by vagrants. So it, a block to your west, or 2 blocks to your west. So there's hypersensitivity about the idea that the city not only promised an overlay, actually created an overlay zone that was to, protect the character of the community, and this promise is not kept. So hopefully new designs are going to fit into the character. I don't mean Disneyland, how does this match the Craftsman houses, but how does it, the bulking, and, I haven't seen anything. So, the roof lines, the bulk, the materials, will there be a nice interplay, of the surfaces, where, will there be the setback? Will there be nice landscaping? It sounds like there will be, but an explanation when you do the presentation of how it actually follows the guidelines in the CPIO. Because I am no longer even sure. I do know, weirdly enough, in Arlington Heights, so they also have a similar character residential overlay. In Arlington Heights, that character overlay does not permit a developer to join lots. So you're creating 2 lots, but that one says you can join them for the purposes of a loan, but or building permits, but you have to maintain the same kind of side yard setbacks on all of the single parcel lots, so that you can join in the back with a joined garage, but you can't join in the front. Can't build across the lot line. So I don't know if we have similar development standards in the fine print of the CPIO. So hopefully you guys will have some good explanation on that.
Yeah, I think the CPIO overlay design guideline has a lot of stipulations about materiality, massing, making sure that it's not just like one long wall, that there's articulation and difference in material, and then the height is there's a certain height limit, but it needs to be stepped back at the top so that it kind of retains a kind of a better scale, and it's not this sort of overwhelming box. So there's a lot of language in there that's very specific, and we've really followed that guideline. So when you see it, there is, stylistically it is modern, but it's I think it's very intricately articulated, so that you'll have a sense of scale, that it's not just sort of this overwhelming wall. We've obviously walked around the neighborhood, and especially up and down St. Andrews, and there's majority of the buildings are majority are apartments that are it looks like it was built in the 70s or 80s, and there isn't much articulation, and I think it does make it a little unfriendly from the street. So I think our building that we're proposing is much better in that, in terms of the way it presents itself and the relationship to the streets and the sidewalks. So we've put in a lot of time there. So I think we'll have you'll see when we present it.
Good. And lastly, and again, We had discussed it. It does appear to be being designed as co-housing. So let's tell us in very positive terms what that's mean.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yes, can you please tell us about that?
Well,
Because when you said duplex, I had a different,
yeah, these are not little family duplexes,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of positive things to say about co-housing. I don't know that this is the night to say it. I mean, just when we have the final, or do you want us to talk about it
well,
now?
if you don't mind, David, I know you've been here for almost, 50 minutes, but can you tell me about that? And here, let me just tell you my issue with co-housing. The pressure it puts on the infrastructure. So if you're not increasing the sewage line, if you're not increasing all of the other infrastructure that goes out to the street, if you're not increasing that, but you're increasing the amount of people. I mean, right now you have a house that has 9 bedrooms and I don't know.
Actually, 18 bedrooms and 9
And 9
bathrooms.
bathrooms, that's right, 9 bathrooms, so.
So it already was kind of increased from 100 years ago.
Right? Yes, that's true. And can you also talk about the parking? If you're going to provide parking to the many people that will be living there?
Yeah, I think that I would have to reserve that explanation for the owners to explain, because I know there are, I think there are proposed, 6 bedrooms on each unit or something.
It was
I remember
6 or
off the-
7. It was
Yeah,
6
maybe
or
it was
7.
7. Yeah.
In each
Uh,
house? Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, David, what I'm getting at is, and I do think it'd be good for the owners to give us the explanation,
Okay.
but there's 2 ways of looking at co-housing. And one is extremely negative, and the other is that it's an exciting opportunity to provide more affordable housing for more people. I'd like to hear what
I
they,
just asked about affordable, and he said he thought it was gonna be market rate, he wasn't sure, so what,
so what does this all mean?
right, is
Right.
it gonna be market rate? Are people gonna be paying $1,500 a month? Which, or $2,000, which is market rate, but for this small space, how is it going to help us to have co-dwelling? But David, we will save that because there are other people besides me who know more about that, who may want to participate in a future meeting where we can discuss that. So don't bother answering those questions now. Yeah.
Right. And obviously, when we have the full presentation, it'll be really good for the owner applicant to be here on Zoom or in person.
Okay.
Yes, and Zoom is fine. You guys are welcome to come in person, but because Laura's such an expert at sharing now, we can just share all documents. Or however you want to do it.
Well, actually, I will say, I think the best of these meetings with applicants is when the team comes in person, but they leave someone in the office, and that person is sharing from a good computer on the screen.
Yeah,
That has worked out really well for some of our recent other
meetings.
meetings. So,
Okay.
okay. So I think.
Yeah, thank you very much for spending so much
Previewing.
time and previewing, and
My pleasure.
we look forward to, hearing what you have to say. We still feel sad about the demolition of an old house, but.
Right. And David, it would be, if it's at all feasible, I have no idea what's on the inside of that house. So, when we say, oh, there'd be people around here who would want it. So for example, if it still has its hardwood floors, somebody's going to want that. If it still has, some of the prosaic stuff isn't so prosaic.
To preservationists.
Well,
So
to someone who has a house where they're
trying to match a width and a type of wood and all of this.
Yeah.
is it
Yeah,
worse on
yeah.
oak?
Yeah.
So it's not that prosaic, but it's not necessarily what you thought of when we said, salvage.
Yes.
Or any of the old light fixtures or the hardware.
So when you're ready for that, please let Laura know. She
Absolutely.
has a group of preservationists and some other just people right here in the avenues who do restoration. So maybe Laura can
Yeah.
coordinate a walkthrough or
Well,
something.
as I
and see
say,
if-
I'm not going to tell Donna will have to. I'm not going to tell Roland.
Oh,
it'll-
please, no. Please.
Because it'll, no, because it will end up in my backyard and I don't want it.
Oh, forget it, and he never sells anything.
That's right.
How old is, David, how old is the house that we're talking about?
I think it was built in the 20s.
Yes. No, it was
Oh,
19.
yeah, David. Yeah, David. You're in trouble.
Yeah, it was 1909, but but Donna, it's been for years now, on and off trying to be sold on the MLS, and it's been described as 18 or even 20 bedrooms. So it may have lost a lot of its historical elements a long time ago. So
If it even has one door handle or some of the original doors, that
Mhm.
is a gem. And you know, David, if you're an architect, you know what we're talking about.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So this,
absolutely.
this is a big deal in our community.
Yeah.
It
It's
is for
hard-
everybody, but it's a big deal.
yeah, I mean, it's hard to find and even try
Yes.
to recreate, you know?
Yeah, you
Yes,
know,
right.
exactly.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Oh, no, yeah, our pleasure. Yeah, we'd be happy to support you on that.
And if you
Okay.
think this was a long meeting, get prepared for another one. When you- Make sure the owners come to that meeting. Okay,
Right,
I'm
right.
telling you, and there's only
Absolutely.
3 of us. Okay,
All right, I'll make the,
warning is given.
I'll make sure and get a comfortable
Okay.
chair.
Yeah,
okay,
All
thank
right,
you.
well,
okay.
thank you.
So
Thank you very
guys.
much. Okay.
So we're gonna just do our follow-up to previous cases, ENS, old business, if any,
You gave an update
on the oil
on
drilling.
the oil drilling. We have no idea when 1848, I'm just stating.
I had a brief conversation with Hakeem about 1848 South Gramercy, and they're moving very slowly.
Yes.
So the council office is talking to the planning department about, they want to make sure they are required for the historical analysis, that the planning department chooses the historic consulting firm, not the developer.
Oh, okay, that's good.
And so I don't know how that's gonna fly, but that's what they're asking for. And it's not clear now on the noise. Remember, part of the motion was to do a noise study, but in the meantime, legislature has passed a new law sitting, may not be signed, but passed a new law sitting on the governor's desk to eliminate noise from sequence.
Oh, wow.
So I don't know if that's retroactive, if this case would be considered a moving forward so I don't know if that
Okay.
piece of the motion that they did has relevance or not.
That's the only other old business that I can think of.
Yeah, I looked today, I didn't see any hearing scheduled. Oh, actually, hearing unscheduled on 10th Avenue is deferred for the one by, the HBOZ case.
Oh,
Yeah, for some reason, the hearing is canceled and
Oh, really?
delayed.
oh, okay.
So I thought you might know why.
I don't know why.
Okay.
I saw that there was something posted,
Right, and now it's apparently unposted.
unposted, yes. So I don't know. And then this isn't here, but it is a HPOZ case next Tuesday, 25, whatever the 28, the Blue House, they want to, they want to do that addition.
And change the
Yeah,
something.
that's going to be the public hearing. And I think, Donna, if I could just mention that to you quickly, that next Tuesday, the HPOZ for the Blue House across the street from me. Donna, you still there?
I am here.
Oh, okay, we may want to let everybody in the avenues know to come out or at least zoom in to hear about that.
Yeah, I'll
Just-
be happy to. It's just so hard, HPOZ, to find out when they're actually going to meet. So
I think it's next Tuesday, that they are meeting next
Well,
Tuesday.
I'll
Here
get
in
it
this-
to
Yeah, here at South
I
Sea's
know.
house, but they're gonna do hybrid,
Right.
yeah, so.
Well, it's not like folks in the avenues can't walk over here and attend in person.
Well,
they-
you know, you're lucky if, to get them to attend, if they'll come at all and
Sure.
put in their voices. But I'll let those like Beverly and others who will show up.
And I'll make sure that Chauncey, I think James, Chauncey's on your list too, right? Chauncey
Oh,
and.
yeah, but I'll call 8th Avenue, everyone I have.
Oh,
And I'll also get people outside of 8th who are interested and will show up.
Yeah.
So,
I looked over the plans and the modification doesn't distract too much from the original Spanish architecture. I mean, it's not, but I think it's fine. They've had so much water damage and intrusion that to be able to enclose that,
Right. And then we'll have at probably our next P and Z meeting or the one after that, there's a couple of parcels in Harvard Heights and that HPLZ that were not correctly described in the surveys. So one was missed entirely, like doesn't exist in the historic survey, and the other one is showing as a non-contributor, and it's like, it should be altered. So there's some question that's been raised about who can apply to change, to ask for a change in status, because the new planner is saying only the owner can do it. And it seems rather clear to most observers, because this is throughout many HPOCs, that most owners wouldn't want to do it.
Right.
If their goal was development. So that's not what the ordinance says. So we're gonna have, I've been requested to have a discussion
Okay,
here, because that's the kind of thing a neighborhood council can comment on.
okay.
So, okay, any other, I don't think so. I think we are done.
Okay, we're adjourned. You didn't have to stay for the rest of the 5 minutes, but thank you very much, David.
are you waving
Okay.
goodbye, David, or are you asking for a turn?
Yeah, he's waving goodbye.
I'm thinking about. See you guys. Have a good night.
Okay,
Okay,
all right, thank you.
Okay,
Okay,
bye,
Don.
Don.
All right, good night.
Okay, good night. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
All right.
Okay, so you want me to do something with the YouTube?
Yeah, just stop YouTube.